Hello everyone, this is AmberAnkNA here. Welcome to my channel. Well, I play a variety of games and do new relations for fanfics. I'm really hoping you enjoy my content. If you do, make sure to comment below, leave a like, and subscribe with the notifications on. Right, until next time, this is AmberAnkNA. Welcome to my channel. So, hi. Hello. The only option left is in progress. What am I saying? I have no idea. But sorry. What what I mean is basically the only option left. Chapter 6. Her voice. Shit! Mom! The lazy winds tossed and spun mass around through a large tumbling column. This time it felt different than before. It was much more chaotic and violent, yet she was completely conscious and could feel and hear her daughter beside her. I'm here, Jess! She rolled through the nearly overwhelming, dizzying effects of the terminus trip. Their hands were still locked tightly at each other's wrists, and the older girl fought with all her strength to maintain the relentless grip. Even though her hand was starting to go numb, her eyes was finally focusing, and she could still see past the unforgiving wind in the steadily void deep into the tunnel. Mom! I don't know if I can do this! You got it, Des! Max wanted to be supportive, but the strong energy that radiated from the teens seemed to be depleting. Help me! Des' voice trembled with terror, and Max felt her daughter was in over her head. The previous times 18-year-old traveled between universes, through grace and was never in control. From what Max understood. She could freely travel the timeline, but going to another universe wasn't something the girl could fully handle yet. She gathered that Dust must have used her power while she was with Dust Chloe in her mind space. So she assumed there was a good reason. She probably stayed inside with her wife for too long, but didn't regret for a second. She sensed Dust's strength subsiding and rapidly draining. The bodies weren't flying as smoothly as before, and they were being tossed and swung around carelessly. Max was worried about what might happen if the teen exhausted her power while they were in between universes. So she did the only thing she could think of. She closed her eyes and located the wise sweet spot where her power was stored. She wanted to pull rather than push so she could feel her soulmates connecting again, but she knew it wasn't the time. She needed the rewind as it in its original form. This one pulse might help charge her daughter's energy enough to push through. As she on the spot, Max releases away so it burst it could be described as a tsunami. The power didn't produce its triple results as it would if bound within time. Wherever they were at the moment, time wasn't something that restrained them, and the power's vigor was heightened. through the cascades of energy and past the bio vortex of their travels. Max noticed her daughter inhaling deeply with a breath of renewed strength. She wanted to plug the pulse, but was worried it would cause the teen to become overwhelmed again. So she allowed the flow to continue. Once she sensed Death was back in control, Max closed her eyes and, before she could locate the source to close it off, a second tunnel whipped open and split from the first out in front of them. She had no idea how far it was from the location, but she knew the pair was quickly approaching the point where the path divulged. She watched as every bit of her power torn through the vacuum of the second tunnel and was joined by a much smaller torment of dust power. Most of the girls' energy was concentrated on the wizardal path, but the smaller stream was enough to help create the second direction. The cove of the tunnel was among them, and as hard as she tried, she couldn't maintain contact with her daughter. The grip was easily peeled apart by force and speed, and dust continued on her path while Max was sprawling in the other direction. No! The older girl strained as she realized it is somehow different than her daughter. She wasn't sure it was because she couldn't breathe very well, or the temporary madness in the suit from rapidly passing between universes. But an odd giggle escaped her lips. Her body was face down, hurrying through space, with one arm out in front of her, and she felt like a time-traveling version of Captain Marvel. The strange laughter was abruptly replaced by sorrowing concern. She noticed Death's golden current began to form a small circle up ahead, burning away at the fabric of space. When her powers joined her daughter's, a small hole was gasped in the air, and Max was headed straight for it. As quickly as she noticed the opening, she passed through and blasted to the other side. She flipped and rolled, landing on the damp solid surface, sliding a little way before catching herself. She turned and watched the opening wink out of existence to nothingness. Max sat in silence in the dark, thankful she wasn't being tossed around anymore. Sword Girl was exactly what she needed, despite knowing she was separated from her teenage daughter. Breathing became much easier, and all this irritation faded away. At first, she felt a dull pain in the back of her head, like a next morning hangover. Then the pain splintered and outward into her limbs and torso. Max rolled her on her side and balled up into the fetal position. Her entire body ached from head to toe like she had been in the car wet. Inside felt icy and cool, but outwardly her body was on fire. A cold sweat dipped from her brow as she uncontrollably shivered for several moments before the aches subsided and she felt like normal again. Max sat in complete silence for a moment, gathering her thoughts. A mild panic burned through her veins and her body shivered with uncertainty. She stood up to gather her bearings, hands frantically searching behind and then in front. But the complete darkness obstructed all sight. Directly behind where she emerged from the hole, she discovered a chill damp wall blocking her path. Stretching her arms out, she stretched to her left and her right, but only discovered more walls. The only open path was directly in front of her. Wait, she said to herself as the word echoed through the deep and empty chamber. Zico almost turned. Fuck! I've been here before. She remembered the terror that enveloped her body and mind when she was there a few years back. It was a time prior to Anne-Free, her marriage, and before a beautiful daughter was conceived. Death, disasters, sacrifices, more death. 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 Matt attempted to forget the haunting memories that weighed heavy in this place. A terrible chance brought on by the lobster. So replace them by remembering how they ended the cycle and saved countless lives, including their own. It was a time when her and Chloe were still exploring their love for one another. And that love ultimately broke her free. This time, everything was much different. With the combining of the smaller stream of power for her daughter and her own rewind pulse, the whole was turned in a space similar to the first time in Max's room that day. It was her purpose. Then, the crying through and finding empty at the end of the dark chamber. She knew it was with no accident she ended up in the Welsh's realm again. But she wondered what reason she had for being here now. The last time she examined his vein and put it into the awkward cycle. As the wheat was set, one final choice had to be made, and that Cecilia was gradually and heroically taken from her. The final act of love and protection. She remembered the panic and terror as she crawled towards the end of the path on her first trip to this realm. But she was filled with confidence, knowing she could handle any situation thrown her way, because of the love she shared with her perfect person. She would not crawl, and she would not be afraid. Not this time. Mouth took a deep breath, puffed her chest with confidence, and began walking towards the end. It would be a lengthy trek to her destination, but she knew it was where she needed to go in order to discover her purpose for returning. For her first step, she felt a tickle on the side of her neck. It was a secret sensation she shared with the yang to her yang. Chloe was reaching out, and it filled her heart with an overwhelming joy, causing her body to perfectly shiver and a single tear to stray down her cheek. Slowly, Death had returned to the universe and informed her soulmate what happened with them being spread apart during the trip. She imagined that her partner was freaking out when Death arrived without her, but the connection they shared would always allow them to feel one another. Eminette closed her eyes and set a tiny pulse back to the love of her life. Somehow she knew Chloe received it, and it calmed her distraught heart. Monster smile forming on her face as she thought about her wife's realization of her safety. She missed her family more than anything. But if she was summoned back to this space, she knew an important task must lie ahead of her. A fierce conscience was from inside her soul. They started walking towards her next challenge. Okay, I know I usually read the whole chapter at once, but what I'm gonna start doing is splitting up the chapters. There's a reason to it. It'd be better for me to do. I'm sorry I'm doing that, but I'm gonna be doing it. I'm sorry about it, but I'm going to be doing it. I'm sorry. Hi everyone. This is Emily 2000 again. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Because, I really did enjoy making it. But, so I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, and subscribe with the notifications on down below. Till next time, bye!